Staying calm all the time is impossible, but most people were never told that. So they spend years trying to do something the human brain was never designed to do. And when they can't, they start thinking the problem is them. Or maybe you've wondered if you're just an angry person now, or if you've changed from who you used to be. But what if the problem isn't you? What if you were stuck in a loop that nobody had shown you before? This is the reaction loop. And the first thing you'll notice is something quite important. There is no way out of it. Every time you try and stay calm, you end up back in the same loop. Let's go a little bit deeper on this. Reactions are the moments that happen faster than you mean for them to. Your tone sharpens, your chest is tight, you say things you wouldn't say if you were feeling calm. This is the moment where after you've reacted, you're like, I just need some space. Yeah, not like leaving or walking out of work or whatever it might be, but like, I just need 5 minutes, yeah, to like just cool off a little bit, right? And you take yourself off on your own and you know, replaying what happened, you're thinking about it, and you know, you're thinking like what you should have said instead. You know, you honestly, you probably don't want to be around other people in that moment, and you feel like you just need some space to breathe. Now, this is where your inner voice gets really quite harsh, because you start thinking like, you know, I shouldn't have reacted like that. And like I say, you're putting all the responsibility on yourself for reacting in the first place. And you're holding yourself to a standard that it probably isn't realistic. If I'm not judging, right? Because I was exactly the same, right? I wouldn't be able to talk about this if I hadn't been there myself. But you start thinking like, it's my fault for reacting. It doesn't matter what happened, I shouldn't have snapped. Now, pressure is where those impossible standards really start to come like into the forefront, right? They're set in stone now, okay? Because you're talking about like, I won't let it happen again. How won't you let that happen again? Because that's what I could have done with someone asking me. You tell yourself you'll do better next time. You know, you want to do better next time, and you're willing yourself to do better next time. And like I say, you set a higher standard for how calm you should be, and that's not like just unrealistically high because you're trying to be a good person, and it's also because you just snapped with somebody, right? You just lost your temper. So now it's like I have to be calmer next time, because if I keep not being calm, then people will not want to stick around. You know, people get fed up with me. And actually, there's so much riding on my shoulders that I can't afford not to be calm. But this is the moment, isn't it, when the pressure really starts to build, because you're not just thinking about what you've done and like the impact it's having on you and how your standards have now changed and gotten even higher, but now you're thinking about the impact it's having on everybody around you. Right? You might have snapped at work with a colleague and you come home and your kids are trying to play with you and you're still a bit like, because you just fell out with somebody at work. But now the standard is, oh, I've got to be calm at home, right? Because if you snap at your kids, that's not very good, is it? Right? And again, no judgment. I've snapped at my kids plenty of times after work, like not meaning to. I'm not saying it's okay, but it's life. It happens, and we hold ourselves to a possibly high standard, and it's impossibly high because it's impossible to be calm all the time. Now, this section here is probably the worst section of all, because this is where you start to make promises out of the pressure, right? This time I'll stay calm. This time I'll do better. This time I'll make it work. So what you got is pressure, promises, and no solution. And actually this is the hardest bit, because now you're like, yeah, I've got this, you know, I can stay calm. I can do this. I'm all over it. Yeah, I'm living the dream. I got it covered. But actually, there's no plan. You got pressure, You've got promises, but no plan. And without a plan, these two just take you back into the loop. Now I want to bring this loop back up a second because let's just look at this a minute, right? You know I said earlier there was no way out, right? Do you know what else is not in here that we just touched on? Any solutions. Yeah, there's no exit door, there's no like other optional stage you can try. There's none of that, okay? The loop doesn't contain any solutions. It's just an endless cycle of mounting pressure. And every time you walk this loop, the pressure you're under gets heavier and heavier. Because you're not just carrying the weight of expectation, right? That sometimes it's only you that has that, right? And I'm not judging anybody, right? I'm not trying to dictate how your lives are, okay? I'm just talking from my own experience. I had this weight of like, I need to be calm all the time, yeah? Like I literally help people regulate online for a living. And like, I care for my partner, I got 3 kids. So like, my need to stay calm is like, it's here, constantly. To me it is. But the other problem is then every time you react, you're just adding more on, right? Because like I say, every time you react, the standards get higher. Every time you fall out with somebody, you say you're going to be better next time. But what you promised yourself you were going to be last time isn't the same now, because now that's not good enough. Now you've got to be here, yeah? This level of calm. And then this, and then this. And then suddenly it's like you can't even see the bar anymore for how calm you need to be to make up for everything you've done or to not let it happen again. Staying calm all the time is impossible. I just want to say, right, I know this loop, I know it well, okay, because I was stuck in it myself for years. I spent so long just putting pressure on myself, and I fell out with so many people so many times because I was trying to be a better person. I was trying to be the perfect person, someone who's calm all the time. Things don't get to this perfect person, you know. This idea you have of yourself, like this over the hills, you know, better life version of you, that like things don't get to this person, they're successful, they've got it all figured out, they have, you know, they have their shit together. I don't know anybody that is that version of themselves. That, don't get me wrong, there are people out there that are like, you know, they have their stuff handled. People out there who got really, really good regulation, really, really good control. And they're calm consistently. But they're not calm all the time. Nobody is. And if I didn't know this loop that well, right, and I just went, I read out of a book, I wouldn't be able to talk about it the way that I do. Okay? I talk about this because I've lived it. And it took me, under like a lot of pressure, 2-3 years to get to where I am now. In reality, before the pressure really kicked in properly, 10-15 years of just this loop, just getting worse and worse and worse. And like, it cost me like friends, relationships, family members, people. Those are the people in my life I don't talk to anymore that I consider like massive regrets. Largely family, but like massive regrets because I couldn't stay calm. But if somebody had shown me this 10-15 years ago, maybe things would be different now. And that's why I'm talking about it for now, because I don't want you to spend the same 10-15 years I did going through what I did. So the solution then that I found, and this might work for you, it might not. I'm not promising this is a one-size-fits-all solution, because the other thing is there are no one-size-fits-all solutions to everything. I mean, if there were, we'd all do them and everyone would just be alright again, wouldn't they? The way out I found was what I call a 1% reset. And if you've seen any of our earlier videos, you'll have seen about this, but The idea of a 1% reset is it's like taking just a minute or two, right? Like whenever you can. Okay, you might take them every day, every couple of days, once a week. And before anybody, and I mean any of you, try telling me you don't have that time. Okay? Let me break something down for you a minute, yeah? There's 24 hours a day, there's 60 minutes in each hour. That's 1,440 minutes a day. You were trying to tell me, anybody, that they don't have 1 or 2 minutes in that 1,440 a day. If you haven't, genuinely, I do feel for you. But I would say all of us do, somewhere. Even if it's like putting a kettle on, you know, making a cheeky coffee before work, or like, you know, get to work 5 minutes early, or you get home from work 5 minutes early, and you're like, so what? I'm going to get a bit, you know, I'm going to take the turning after my turning and just loop round and put a song on. That's a reset. Standing out in the kitchen boiling the kettle and watching all the bubbles rise, just being like, that's kind of cool. That's a reset. You don't have to do anything in particular. You don't have to be any kind of person. The idea of the reset is just making yourself feel 1% better. That's all it's for. You don't have to fix yourself because you're not broken. You don't have to become some different person because the person you are is enough. You're just trying to feel 1% better as the person you already are. And over time, those 1%, they compound, right? And again, I'm living proof of it. I'm not calm all the time. I would pay good money, like more money than I would ever realistically earn, to be calm all the time. But like I say, you're trying to have 1% better each time, but each time you do it, it's 1%, and it's 2%, and it's 5%, and it's 10%, 20%, 50%. And it's not each reset is 1%, like in a linear way, yeah? Like it doesn't just add up like regular math does, but like the more of these resets you take, the more you see where they're about for you, yeah? Like the more times you think, oh, I can have a reset now. And then you do. Or maybe you don't, but like you realize they're there. Then you start taking more. You get more times in the day, more pauses, more resets. And then actually staying calm is not as hard. I mean, it is in the moment to start with. But eventually you're just like, the one thing I try to think is like, what happens next? Yeah, if something gets stressful for me, I'm like, what happens next? If I snap, I react, what happens next? The reactions loop. That's what happens next. I don't like that loop very much. I'd rather do a reset. So, you know, maybe yesterday it might take you like a couple of hours to calm down. And maybe you don't reset. Maybe next week it takes you half an hour to calm down because you've had 1 or 2 resets. And over time, like I say, those resets compound and they make the business of staying calm and returning to calm after you've snapped easier. Because I'm not promising that resets won't stop you from reacting to stuff because there's nothing out there that does that. Right? You can go and look at all the courses and all the stuff. No, I'm sorry, as long as you've got emotions, a pulse, neural activity, like you're gonna react to stuff. Anyone trying to tell you any different is just wasting your time. That might be an unpopular opinion on parts of the internet, but for me, like that's the truth. Like nobody is calm all the time. Yeah, I teach it for a living. I'm not just on here. Like I take my stuff out into community spaces as well, local community spaces in and around where I live. And I am honestly, there's times where I cannot stay calm. And like, what makes it worse is there's times where it's like I can't even contain that, and I react to stuff, and I snap and I fall out of people, and I feel like I should stay calm all the time because of what I do, because of what I do online, and who I am when I'm not. Partner of, I care for my partner. I look after, I have 3 kids. I'm, trying to manage a family. Like, I should stay calm. That's what I tell myself in those moments. Is that I should be staying calm with this. The reactions loop is so easy to fall into because it feels like logic, but it's not. It's just pressure. It's pressure, and it's unrealistic pressure. Let me leave you with one final thing, okay? Because this is something that I noticed during these resets, and this is something I'm able to share with you because I'm slightly further along with it, right? The more of these resets you do, like I said, the more time you realise that they're available to you. But actually, the other thing you do when you take these resets is you give yourself time to look at what's happened, not just when you reacted, but like all the rest of it. Because I talk a lot on this channel about like holding things in. Right, you're the one holding everything, you're the one carrying all that responsibility and everything, yeah? How many times does carrying the responsibility of anything at all, kids, caring for people, job, people you work with, people you like, people you don't, how many times do you feel like, oh, do you know what, I could just, and you're not, and you don't do that? Because you're carrying it quietly to make life easier for those around you because they're not having to see it. Just roughly, how many times a week? Let me know in the comments. How many times a week are you doing that? Now you've done that, let me tell you something. They're all times you're staying calm. You're already calmer than you think. But it took me having to take these resets and go down this really messy path. And like the other thing with this is I was a mess at this. I was rubbish at it. I didn't know what I was doing. It's not those awkward first experiences you have. And I was like, I'm not, what am I even doing? Like I went and sat in my car the first time I had a reset. I listened to a song and I was just like, I just felt really awkward, like cringy, like I need to be doing something, like I need to, and it's just taking the time for yourself. Not because other people don't deserve your time or because you need to do it or you'll react again. But it's just like, it's giving yourself that time. Taking time for yourself isn't a selfish thing to do. Pushing people away so you can take time for yourself, particularly if they depend on you, well, I'm not getting drawn into that, but for me, like I say, there's 1,440 minutes in a day. Find 5 of them. They don't have to be 5 one after the other. They can be 5 lots of one. 1 2 minutes, 1 3 minutes. Find 5 of them and take them. And just let me know what happens. Yeah? Let me know if you're feeling better for it. Because I'm telling you now that this what worked for me. Right, I can't promise it'll work for everybody. There's nothing that exists for staying calm that works for everybody. Not one thing. Or, like I said, it'd be one solution, and we'd all do it. But the fact is, you don't build calm by never reacting. You build calm by taking time for yourself and resetting sooner each time. 1% sooner. 1% closer to a calmer version of you.